It is the end of 2023. So, of course, it is once again time for the Goodreads Choice Awards opening round for the best books of 2023. And there is some controversy that they've gotten rid of the middle grade kidlit category for reasons that are obscure to me. And who am I, by the way? I am Daisy Ex Machina, the drag queen detective that investigates all things speculative in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And if you follow me, you know I'm trying to break in as a kidlit writer. So it's always concerning, especially coming after Barnes & Noble's decision to scale back on their kidlit, at least hardback, inventory in their brick and mortar stores. So bad time to be a kidlit writer or trying to break into kidlit writing. So anyway, we're going to look at what they give us. So let's go ahead and jump into the opening round. Okay, real quick for the schedule, we have the opening round from November 14 to 26th, final round 28 to December 3rd, and the winners announced on December 7th. So they're doing this quickly. And okay, we're opening up with Best Fiction. I don't read general fiction usually, I'm just fantasy, science fiction, horror. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down quickly, scan the covers, maybe point out some cool looking covers. So this is an ugly cover, the Big Swiss, but it sticks out, I guess. Other than that, not really loving these covers. Mame makes me think of Auntie Mame. Wonder if there's a connection. I don't know. Okay, Yellowface. I haven't read it, but I've heard so much about it by R.F. Kuang, who, of course, was one of my favorite writers because I picked Babel as one of my books of the year, and I love the Poppy Wars. This is not speculative, so I haven't read it. But again, I've heard a lot about it. So, you know what? Let's just go ahead and vote for Yellowface. I know I haven't read it, but I love the author, and I wouldn't mind seeing them win. Okay, next is historical fiction, which I know nothing about. But the covers are not that spectacular. I do like this House of Eve. That's sort of a striking cover. I definitely know Isabel Allende as a writer. I love this title, The Keeper of Hidden Books. And The Echo of Old Books. Lots of books in historical fiction. And go ahead and pause if you're interested. I don't know any of these writers except for Isabel Allende. So moving on to mystery and thriller. The only mysteries I'm really reading are the Flavia de Luce cozy mysteries. The Handmaid's Secret over here sounds like The Handmaid's Tale. Interesting. This Richard Osman book sort of has a cover that jumps out because it's different than the others. The Maid's Diary. Okay, I love this title, and I kind of think this cover is cute. Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. If I was a mystery reader, I would really pick it up just for that title. And the cover's kind of cute, but. Now this Alice Feeney book, Good Girl, Good Bad Girl, I think I've seen this artwork before, this photograph before with the red umbrella surrounded by black umbrellas. So that's interesting. Don't Let Her Stay looks like a horror. Okay, that is mystery and thriller. Let's go on to romance. I really don't like romance as a reader, but it's a very, very popular category. And as expected, the covers look kind of the same. They like these cartoony graphic illustrations of, looks like mostly a man and a woman. And lots of pink going on here. Nothing is really jumping out at me. They look very similar. Well, The Final Offer, this looks different. I would never have guessed this was a romance. So, I like this Dreamland Billionaires #3. If you're into Dreamland Billionaires. Okay. Oh, this is a new category, Romantasy, which is romance fantasy. I kind of wish, because, in Shelf It or Shove It, I look at the categories fantasy, science fiction, romance. I would not mind if they did Romantasy, because I'm not into Romantasy, so I wouldn't mind it being filtered out of the regular fantasy books. But if you're into Romantasy, you got to be excited that there's a whole category now. And they look very similar. Usually it's like that Court of Throne and Roses title as a feature with stuff around it. And that's mostly what these are. And nothing is jumping out at me. They're all very, very similar. Oh, we have The Fourth Wing here, which is that science fiction or fantasy? But it's been getting a lot of buzz. I didn't realize it was a romantasy, and I was curious about reading it, but now that I know it's a romance fantasy, I probably won't. And I do remember Jaccid Air in Shelf It or Shove It. I do kind of like that cover. And I recognize the Hurricane Wars. I love this title, Assistant to the Villain. Again, I'd be more interested if it wasn't a romantasy, just straight up fantasy, but, maybe I'll read that one because the title is so intriguing. Anyway, I'm not going to vote in this category. Let's just move on to fantasy. Okay, we have Brandon Sanderson, Trust of the Emerald Sea, which is what I say is a modern fairy tale, not modern, but a fairy tale. And I did enjoy it. I didn't think it was as humorous as it was meant to be for me. The humor didn't land. But I appreciate Sanderson sort of venturing into different types of writing style. That was really interesting. We have Salman Rushdie. We have the Alex Harrow novel. Have I read any of these? Oh, we have Leigh Bardugo's Hellbent. And this cover I recall. I do not like this Venco cover. Bone Shops and Bone Nuts, which is a sequel to Legends and Lattes, which I enjoyed a lot. And, Samantha Shannon. I did not like Priory, so I haven't gotten A Day of Fallen Earth. We have a Martha Wells book. We have this Encyclopedia of Fairies, which I did like that cover. I remember that. The Book That Wouldn't Burn. I see A Book That Wouldn't Burn. I loved that book. I think that's what I'll go with, but let's look at the others. This V. Schwab book, I was very disappointed in the cover, but I like the author a lot. Oh, here's another one, Ink Blood Sister Scribe. I just recently read that one, and it's a contemporary fantasy thriller. At least that's how I read it, and I thought it was really, really good, but not as good as The Book That Wouldn't Burn. Okay, next category is science fiction, yes. Okay. The Great Transition, I did not like the cover at all. I remember seeing it in Shelf It or Shove It. Adrian Tchaikovsky, I have not read Children of Memory, but this is the year I read the Final Architect trilogy. And the last book came out this year too, and really thought that was good. I have read the Jinbada Shantaport. I was kind of disappointed in it. It's written from the point of view of a drone. If you look at this cover, you see a woman, a monkey, and up above it's a drone. That's the POV character. And I felt there was too much dialogue. I mean, these really big, long, chunky dialogue passages of politics and things that were I just wish it kept moving forward, kept moving the story forward. And at the end, the climax was kind of told from the point of view of the drone because they weren't involved. They were just reporting to you from news reports And I didn't really love that. I did like the story and I liked the ending, but I have to say I was kind of disappointed. I did read Lightbringer, loved Lightbringer by Pierce Brown. That's the seventh book of Red Rising. And we have a Martha Wells Murderbot book, number 7. Have not read it. I've only read the first Murderbot. Live the Puppets by T.J. Klune. I kind of want to read that one, but I've heard mixed things about it. I did not really care for his Under the Whispering Door book as much as I did House on Cerulean Sea, which I loved. And someone just told me it's going to have a sequel, which I'm excited about. But moving on, The Bridge stands out because of the color, but I don't really like that cover, and I haven't read it. And, I have read Starter Villain by John Scalzi, which I thought was very, very cute. And I wish there was more cats. And I love this cover with the cat on the cover. Okay. And there's an Anne Leckie book. Love her Ancillary Justice series. Thought that was great. Of the books I've read, I think I'm going to have to say Pierce Brown. I really did like Lightbringer. It's a lot darker. His second trilogy, or the next 3 books in his series after the first 3 books, these Lightbringer books are in a different time period as the first trilogy. But I have to say, I really do enjoy Pierce Brown's writing, especially how he brings sort of this voice that makes you think of, this is how Romans would speak if they lived in the far future. So it is military fantasy, by the way, so it's not everyone's cup of tea. Okay, so moving on. Horror. Okay. I've read The House with Good Bones. I don't think it's my favorite T. Kingfisher novel. So far, I've really enjoyed their fantasies, but a little disappointed with House with Good Bones. Didn't hate it, but I didn't think it was as strong as their other writing. And this one Share of Night really sticks out. The cover is really striking. This clawed fist or clawed hand. And that looks to be all I've read. It's a new Stephen King. I haven't picked it up, but I've heard mixed things about Holly. So, well, you know what? I've only read The House with Good Bones, so let's go ahead and vote for it. And moving on to young adult fantasy and science fiction. This is the one I would really love them to filter out Romantasy, because I wonder what would be left. Probably not much. Okay. I recognize some of these from Shovel to Shove It. Like, I picked up What the River Knows because I love that cover, but I did not ultimately pick it for Shovel to Shove It. I'm recognizing several of these covers. I really want to read this Chloe Gong series. This is, the second one. The first one is Foul Lady Fortune. New Holly Black. New Cassandra. I have read Delicious Monsters, which is a young adult horror. It's not fantasy or science fiction. But I did enjoy it. It's she's a Canadian author and not only a YouTuber, but an author-tuber if you want to see their writing journey. And I think that's the only book I've read. So guess what? We're picking Delicious Monsters. Okay, and going down young adult fiction. I probably have not read any of these. Brothers Hawthorne, I thought was a fantasy, so I'm guessing it's a thriller by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And Immortality looks like a horror. Together We Rot, I know is a horror. So these are familiar to me, but I have not read any of them. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So let's go to debut novel. So are these all just fiction debuts, I wonder? No, because I recognize Chain Gang All-Stars. I love this cover, The Bandit Queens. Greta's no good husband disappeared 5 years ago. She killed him, but everyone thinks she did, or she didn't kill him. Okay, if anyone's read The Bandit Queens, let me know, because I do like that retro cover with all those different colors. Okay, we see Mame again. Oh, okay. I am so glad Inkblood Sister Scribe is here because I didn't pick it for fantasy, but I will definitely vote for it for debut. Very powerful, strong debut. Okay, moving on to nonfiction. I guarantee I haven't read any of these. Okay. Go ahead and pause if you're interested. Doppelganger looks like a science fiction novel. A trip into the mirror world. So probably about AI. Monsters has a interesting cover. A Fan's Dilemma. I wonder if it's about cosplay. I don't know. Butts, a backstory with a big peach. Okay, that's sort of my favorite cover here because I assume it's about butts. Let's see. Whether we love them or hate them, think their secrecy strange, consider them too big, too small. Okay, so it's about butts, derrieres. Okay, memoir and autobiography. Well, we've all heard about Prince Harry's novel. Oh, Page Boy by Elliot Page. I might be a little bit interested in this memoir of a trans boy who was a very popular actor when female presenting, and kind of an interesting journey. Really not interested in Prince Harry, but if you're into the royals, I'm sure you would be. So, The Witching Year. It's kind of interesting. And Britney Spears' autobiography, have no interest in, but I know it's very popular. Not at all interested in Paris Hilton. And, oh, I didn't know Pamela Anderson had an autobiography. Oh, Maggie Smith has an autobiography. I love Maggie Smith. Maybe I'd be interested in that one. I don't know. Okay, now we move on to history and biography. So it's biography instead of autobiography and history. Because we have Elon Musk out there. Oh, is that Mary Astor, by Anderson Cooper? Interesting. One of King. Now, this Going Infinite, I have no idea what it's about, but it's sort of that bright cover that is catching my attention amongst all these kind of drab-looking covers. Drab from the color schemes. And Bill O'Reilly, The Killing of Witches, Horror of Salem, Massachusetts. No comment. Okay, humor. Okay, when I think of humor, I think of like Joan Rivers books or essays by comedians, Fran Lebowitz, that type of thing. And that's what it looks like. Being Henry by Henry Winkler. I bet that could have been under autobiography too. Tough Titties should go with that butt book. Oh, goodness. Airplane. That's interesting. The True Story of Airplane. See, that sounds like nonfiction, but it's under humor. Yeah, I think a lot of these could go in other categories. The World Record Book of Racist Stories. That could be very interesting, actually, by Amber Ruffin and Lacey Lamar. And I guess those are the authors on the cover. Okay, as expected. Oh, Leslie effing Jones. A memoir. Again, Why was it in Autobiography? I don't know. It's under humor. But I'm not going to vote for this one because I haven't read any of these or really know any of the authors' writings. I mean, I recognize some of the authors like Henry Winkler and Anderson Cooper and whatnot, but I went ahead and voted in, I voted in fiction, voted in fantasy, science fiction, horror, debut novel, and young adult fantasy and science fiction. So I want to know what you voted in, if you voted at all. And what do you think of them dropping the kid-lit middle grade children's category? I think that really sucks. But let me know down in the comments. And while you're there, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Okay, guys, that's all I have. Hope to see you next time. And as usual, may all the books you read be blessed.